Welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Ariel, your favorite fourth year medical student and fitness girly. But today my video is going to be for the pre-meds. I know that the AMCAS application opens for submission in a few days, so I wanted to take the time to let you know what you should make sure your application has before you submit it. So please watch this video all the way through, and if your application doesn't have any of these things, do not submit it until you go back, change it, and incorporate the things that I'm going to tell you. AMCAS calculates your GPA separate from what your school calculates it as. The GPA that I had graduating was a 3.91. Now, when I took all of the grades that I had into Hampton and I put it into AMCAS's calculator, they told me that I had a 3.89. So you can see how AMCAS has my GPA slightly lower than what, I went on my entire 4 years believing my GPA was. There's nothing I can do about that. It is what it is. Just be prepared for that. Also, my MCAT. I took it very, very late in my application cycle. I only studied for 8 weeks and I took it in July 31st and I got a 505. My first tip is apply early. I did not apply early. I actually applied very, very late. I didn't take my MCAT till July 31st of my application cycle, which you can already imagine means I didn't put my primaries in until September, which means I didn't get my secondaries until October, November, December, etc., etc., etc. Now, I'm saying apply early and that it makes a difference as someone who got 8 interviews out of the 16 applications that I applied to, and I still feel like if I would have applied earlier, I would have gotten a lot more. Yes, if you're a good applicant, you're gonna get in regardless, but the fact of the matter is, a lot of these spots are first come, first serve. And if you don't feel like you're the top of the top of the top, which obviously very few people can be, or you wouldn't be at the top, applying early can give you an edge over applying slightly later. They might take someone who's slightly underqualified because they saw your application earlier and saw potential in you than someone who is slightly better than you but waited too late and now that spot is gone. So always apply early. That's the one thing that I wish I did. That goes with the MCAT too. Take that bad boy early. Sort of my second tip is don't be afraid to take the test. I know you only want to take it once. I only want to take it once. It looks bad if you do take it multiple times. However, it looks even worse if you never take it at all. And I know there's so many people out here who have like that stress test anxiety and you just keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. And it's been a year. You're pushing it back again and it's been 2 years and maybe it's even been 3 years. And I'm telling you, at that point, just take the test. Work this test up to be so big and so just emotional that it's paralyzing you with not being able to take it. And so sometimes it's worth having to possibly take the test twice if the alternative is you never taking it at all. My next tip is to max out your experiences section. Max it out. Like, you need to have that completely filled out. Your application only gives you a limited amount of space, and every opportunity they give you to write something, you need to write it and you need to use it to show to them why they should pick you. Which means that if you're going to use something as an experience, you need to make sure that it's meaningful and it gives more insight into who you are, basically. You shouldn't just be describing, volunteer. For 3 days a week, 6 weeks, I was at the children's hospital for 2 hours. That doesn't give them anything about you. Yes, they need to know what you did, but you also need to sprinkle in a little bit of why that would make you a good doctor or why you feel like it was important to you in your journey. I had done like a research project my junior year of college. Research wasn't like that big a deal. It was like computational research, which means it was all on the computer. It was like here and there. I did it, so I wanted to put it on there, but I needed to make sure that it sounded relevant. I needed to figure out how to make it actually work for me instead of just trying to look like I'm just checking off a box. How was that different than anyone else doing a volunteer experience, and what did that actually do for you? This is a place where a lot of people get tripped up. This is intentionally vague. They want to know what you think is important about that experience. And that's why it's important for you to kind of use that space to not only write about what you did, but how it made you feel and how it kind of contributes to you being the person that you are today. The thing I'm gonna talk about is the personal statement, and I don't even mind that I'm probably gonna spend a lot of time on this because this is arguably one of the most important parts of your application. Your grades and your MCAT are gonna make sure that you don't get rejected from medical school, but your personal statement is what's going to get you accepted. And recently I've actually helped a few pre-meds edit their personal statements, which is something that I've never done before. And I'm realizing that people are running into the same problems. They want to prove to medical schools that they've done all of these activities, and their personal statement ends up just becoming a resume. And I'm here to encourage you to not do that. And so I know a lot of people fall into that trap of like, I want them to know that I did this, I did that, I did whatever. That is what your experiences section is for. So if you've already noted something in your experience section, don't even put it in your personal statement, right? They read your whole application, they don't just read part. There's no need. Repeating what you've already said is basically just wasting characters. You already have such a limited amount of space to let them know who you are and why they should choose you. There's no need to be repeating the same things over and over again. The beginning of your personal statement, the first 2 sentences should be something that evokes an image in my mind and that keeps me wanting to read more and more. I also recommend when writing your personal statement to revise it as many times as you can, get as many people to read them as you can, and yes, use your resources. I know everyone's gonna use ChatGPT to help with the draft, that's fine, but you need to know that you need to go back behind ChatGPT and edit it, then put it back in, and then tell them to do this, and then bring it back out and edit it some more. It doesn't have the essence of who you are, and you need to make sure that that shines through in your personal statement. Highly, highly, highly suggest you try to find someone, read your stuff over. The person I chose was a PhD who was working in the lab that I was working in. I wouldn't just ask your friend or whatever. Make sure the person who's editing your personal statement has the credentials to do so. Next, I want to talk about your letters of recommendation. I get asked a lot how to find letter writers, especially for people who have taken a couple of years off of school and they're kind of removed from their undergrad professors. And my advice to you is that you just have to ask, but it's so important to maintain relationships. Like, unfortunately, if you have graduated and it's been a couple of years and you haven't stayed in contact with them, you can ask them for a letter of recommendation because you need to. You might not have any other choice. But the truth of the matter is your letter is going to be nowhere near as good as someone else who maintained that relationship. And that is the key to getting good letter writers, especially if you are an undergrad and you know that you want to go to medical school, but you know also that you're going to take a couple years. Stay in contact. Reach out every once in a while. Ask if they needed help on anything. I swear to God, like literally what letter of recommendations are doctors gossiping at the lunch table, right? Because the doctors are the ones who are letting you in, and the PhDs and the MDs are the ones who are writing your letters, and they're gonna say, oh, my colleague said this about this student. Okay, they must be a good student. Or, oh, like my colleague said, oh, like, yeah, like they're, they're all right, they're fine. Oh, I know that means that they, so think of it like that. Another thing that I wanna talk about is setbacks or academic issues that you've had. Don't shy away from them, and honestly, be the first one to bring them up. Talk about them in your personal statement, talk about them in your secondary applications. I really want you guys to understand that when you're applying to medical school, you're literally just trying to get someone to know who you are, to understand who you are, where you come from, and why you truly want to do this. Think of it as someone who just wants to get to know you. When you're letting people know what happened in your life and how you are the way you are, and you're talking about something that you've done in the past, no one's gonna be like, oh girl, you're just making excuses. They're like, oh, okay, this is giving me insight into why you are the way you are. And honestly, that makes a little bit more sense now. And so don't be afraid. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up. Like, it is honestly impossible to get through life, to get here and be just the perfect applicant in every aspect. I know that the application to submit literally opens tomorrow. So after watching this video, if you feel like your application is just not where you want it to be, you are in luck. I've actually decided to give away to 3 lucky students a free review of your entire application, help you edit your personal statement, and just give you some one-on-one advice about medical school. And so in order to be eligible for this giveaway, you have to follow me on all of my platforms, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Comment below a stethoscope, and then DM me on Instagram so that when you win, I can message you there. I truly understand how stressful and hard this process is, and I just want to help you guys in any way that I can, because we need more doctors, especially with everything that's going on in the country, Medicaid, Medicare being cut. We're gonna need you guys. So if I can do anything to help you, I will. But that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for sitting here and listening to me. If you have any questions, as always, please drop them in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.